I'm focused now on how you do the inference for keyword spotting. Now you should at this point be able to recognize that inference is going to happen in the main loop because this is something that's going to happen continuously. So as you see here, if I were to scroll down just a little bit in our code after we do pre-processing, then comes the inference stage. Now, if you remember, the pre-processing is done by populate feature data, which puts the data into the feature buffer. In order to do the inference, we actually have to get the data that's inside feature buffer and move that over to model underscore input underscore buffer. And we do this by simply doing a raw data copy. Now, one of the reasons that we actually write a manual loop and go through and iteratively copy it byte by byte is so that we don't actually have to rely on any library functions that actually do the copy. Why do you think we don't want to rely on any library functions? Well, we don't want to have library dependencies because when we have library dependencies, that increases the size of the actual executable, which in our case can be quite problematic because we are deploying things on a microcontroller. And therefore, when you find us doing these things, often because we don't want to get into problems of using some external libraries. And that's why we are manually copying the data over here. And after we have moved the input values into the model input buffer, this is where the spectrogram effectively is sitting right now. Because we've already set up the model input buffer previously and tied it to the interpreter, if you recall from the initialization phase, all we have to do now is just call the interpreter through the invoke function call, which effectively runs the model on the spectrogram data that's inside the model input buffer and then generates the output. I'll talk more about the output in the post-processing stage. For now, when we call the interpreter, we simply want to make sure that there are no errors that are reported by the interpreter. At all times, I strongly encourage you to have these kind of error checks. They will help you build a robust application that will help you debug the application also really easily. With that said, I'll pick up in the post-processing phase now.